was the last time you have been somewhere haunted? Did you have an encounter there? There are tons of haunted locations all around. Find out where and prepare yourselves for the experiences others have had. Make sure the lights are off and join us for Haunted Locations in 60 minutes.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Haunted Locations in 60 Minutes with your hosts, Diana Henry and myself, Nick Sarlo. We're really excited today to have three awesome guests. We have Miss Dana Stricker, who we have known for a long time, and she just went to Spirits in the Spring with us. And then we have Kathy and we have Greg, who they help out with the location that we will be talking to about today. How's everybody doing today? How's everybody's weekend?
Good.
Doing real good.
Busy.
Weekend was busy at the Ohio State Reformatory.
Yeah.
Yes, it was definitely a busy weekend. We had Spirits in the Spring, as a lot of you guys know, this weekend. The event went fantastic. Couldn't ask for a better day. Everything went smoothly. There were no complaints, and the best thing about it is there was no drama for once.
Oh, that's the greatest thing.
Bravo!
It was definitely it was fantastic. Definitely a good time. So let's get into today's haunted location. We are traveling all the way to Ohio, and we are going to Diana. Would you like to announce where we're going?
We are going to the Ohio State Reformatory.
And with me we have, like I said, Dana, Kathy, and Greg. Dana has been there a whole bunch of times, and Kathy and Greg. Now, do you guys work there, or?
I'm the paranormal program manager there, and Greg, he's the lead paranormal investigator.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm. So, kind of explain to the audience at home a little bit about Ohio State Reformatory.
Okay. It's a prison built between 1886 and 1910. It was in operation for 94 years, closed in 90. And it's really well known for a famous movie that was filmed there, and that was The Shawshank Redemption. Mm-hmm. They were getting ready to tear down the building after filming. In fact, all the support buildings on the back that they did tear down. Before they could tear down the main structure, citizens of the city of Mansfield got together and pretty much saved the building. And right now, it's a historical museum.
Okay, very nice. Right now, can people put paranormal investigations there? Can they go there just for like photography or anything like that, or?
There's all kinds of things that you can do at the Ohio State Reformatory. The paranormal is just a very small piece of what the Ohio State Reformatory has to offer. They have daytime tours, which consist of different types. You have your audio wands, you have guided tours, you could do a self-guided tour, you could do the Shawshank tour. There's many different tours throughout the day. But included in all those tours, we have three different museums. We have, what are the names of the museums? Because I'll mess them up.
Yeah, we have the Ohio Penal Museum, which basically has artifacts from prisons throughout the state of Ohio. We have the North Central Ohio Industrial Museum, and we have the Shawshank Museum, which has memorabilia and stuff from the movie.
So included with all of your tours and everything, you did get to see all of that. And then, of course, we do have the paranormal. The paranormal, we have a couple of different things. Like Greg is the lead paranormal investigator for the private ghost hunts. The private ghost hunts are for smaller groups of people that are very much into paranormal investigating, and they can rent out the building. We also have what's called a public ghost hunt, where that's open to the public and anybody and everybody can go, and it's usually about 105 people. Oh, so, wow. But we have 250,000 square feet of prison too.
Right.
Not all of it is available, but that's how big the building is. The private ghost hunts, it's like 15 people and up. So to some of them, there's been times that Greg's only had one person.
One person.
So, and then the other paranormal program that we do have is the Ghost Walks, which is on select Fridays. That's a 2-hour ghost walk where we take about 50 people and we break them into about 4 groups, and we talk about all the paranormal experiences that have happened in the prison. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of different things. Right now, we just opened up being able to rent equipment for both the public and the private ghost hunts.
Okay.
And we can pre-order sandwiches for the public ghost hunts now.
Oh, nice. There you go. It's always good to have a little bit of food too.
I'm sold. I'm coming back.
So, Dana, how many times have you been there?
You know, I was trying to count that. I think 4, but I'm heading toward 5 because I'm going there next month for their Parapsychon event, which is awesome, by the way. So I've been there a lot. I mean, I guess compared to some people, but it's never failed to. I've never disappointed at OSR ever. There's always something that either happens personally to me or an EVP that's caught. There's something. I've never left there empty-handed that way.
Okay.
So,
what kind of personal experiences have you had there?
the very first time I went, which was prior to Kathy and Greg doing it, so this was about 20 some years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, very dirty in there at this time, and you really had to wear a mask and stuff because there was a lot of stuff in the air.
Okay.
And we were in, and I can't remember, it's that cell block, right when all the things meet up in the middle. I'm talking to Kathy and Greg.
Solitary confinement?
Yeah, it runs, yes, in the same line. It's that whole cell block there. My friend and I were standing outside, and none of this was all done up like it is now, mind you. And it was just one group of people. It was my group that had rented the place. So it wasn't a bunch of people inside. And we could hear somebody running. So I was under the assumption that someone had got separated from their group or what have you. So I said to my friend Jay, I said, let's shine our flashlights down there because it's pitch black. You guys know how it is if you've ever been there. To help the person out. Like, all right, because it was quite a ways away yet. And the feet got closer and closer and closer and closer and closer. And right in front of us, they just stopped. There wasn't anybody there. So I was like, oh, and we turned around, and there was an EVP experiment going on in Solitary, which was behind us. And at the time when the feet stopped, like within another beat, a psychic that was in there during that experiment started to scream because she felt pushed her aside coming through. So it was quite an interesting, that was my first, I think, 2 hours in the building.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
there have been several things aside from that too, though.
And Dana, the last time that happened was this past Friday night.
Yeah.
Did it really?
It really did. And it was down in the West Cell Block.
That's where
you're talking about. So I'm wondering if it was in April when you went.
I'll look it up because it was, like I said, it was quite a few years ago. And in fact, when we went into what was then the place where they got the pizza in, it's not the same now.
Yeah, the mini bullpen, yeah.
No.
And
Building A.
I'm like, after that experience, my friend and I are like, we need a break. So we went into that room, and the security guy that was working that night was like, what happened to you guys? Because we were like, you know. So we told him, he goes, oh, you met the runner.
Oh.
Like he knew about it. That's the only time I've ever heard of it. And you guys said it just happened?
It just happened this past weekend. It happened during a ghost walk. It's always so much fun when you're doing these 2-hour ghost walks and you have newbies, with you that have never ever done anything like this, and things like that happen. So yeah, it was actually happening during a ghost walk, and they were just so amazed. We could hear it. We were up and they were in the west attic, which is the west cell block. And I was outside the attic and I heard it going on in the west cell block. So I went and walked over and listened, and I could hear, it sounded like footsteps. Well, first I heard a bang. It was a bang like a cell door. And then I heard walking. And then it sounded like somebody ran. And then it sounded like somebody was chasing them.
Interesting.
So when the people came out of the attic, I was like, shh, don't say anything. Be as quiet as you can. And I had them go stand over there. And it all happened again for them. Only this time there were two men downstairs talking, but there wasn't anybody there. So they heard disembodied voices as well as the footsteps.
Wow. So that's just a little example. I mean, I've had several personal experiences, Nick, but you don't have probably a 6-hour show. So, you know.
Are you
Just
saying anything for you? What are you talking about?
Good line.
We yeah, right. We Shadow Hunters, we have never been to Ohio State Reformatory. We love to go. We've heard nothing about good and fantastic things about it. Diana was actually looking, and she had sent me some pictures of it. Let me see if I can get this going. There we go. Do you guys see the picture? So where would this be?
That is the east cell block looking from the stairwell near the east wing.
Okay. Do you guys get a lot of activity in here? Or?
Yeah, we get, well, in fact, I had an experience there a couple weeks ago. Well, in fact, we had a couple of people. There's, where this photo was taken, there are 3 levels. And on the second level, each time I go past this room, I always get this funny feeling, and I always look in there. Now, Kathy and I have been volunteering there since 2013.
Oh, wow.
And I've been the lead there since 2017, and never seen anything in that room, except for several weeks ago, I finally did. And when we went by the room, Kathy went by it first. She didn't look in because I always look in this room. I look in, and right there is a white, bright, swirling mass of, like, I don't know what you would call it, like smoke or whatever, almost like something was trying to form. I was like, whoa, I jumped back a little because, it's like, I finally got to see something. And then it was funny because all Kathy heard from me was, because I'm trying to see with my breath.
I'm like, is that you doing that?
It's like, yeah, I just saw something. I'm trying to, it's like me, I'm skeptical of everything. So it's like everything's got a logical explanation, but it wasn't my breath.
Wow.
Here, all this time I thought it was somebody breathing heavy behind me. Well, I guess it was. It was bad.
There you go. Diana, do you have anything?
Well, when I was looking at the history of it, the first 150 people were actually bought in by Train, and they put them to work building the sewer system for the prison, and also the 25-foot wall. I think that's gone now, isn't it? The wall is the wall still there, or is it gone now?
That was torn down after Shawshank Redemption film.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm getting pictures here. Just gonna go like that. So don't mind me. The cornerstone, like you said, was put in 1886. And when did it open?
1896.
Okay, yeah.
Wow.
But the thing is that was weird. There was a superintendent who was there, and I was like, 1950 something. His wife, I don't know why this happened, but his wife died of pneumonia after a handgun went off when she was reaching in her jewelry box.
There's a little bit more to that. It actually
Yeah,
happened.
please do, because I'm like, what?
It actually happened November 5th, 1950. Her name was Helen Gladkey. She was the wife of Superintendent Art Gladkey. And it was a Sunday morning. She was in her bedroom, in her closet. Now, these closets are really, really tall. They got shelved. I think they're like at least 12 feet tall, the ceilings. And she was reaching for a box up in the shelf up in the closet. Her husband's handgun was up there. It accidentally fell and discharged.
Oh,
And
okay.
it struck her in the lung, and she died like 3 days later of complications from pneumonia.
Yeah, and then he died of a heart attack, and was it 9 years later?
Yep, 1959.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting with those two people that you're talking about. There are phantom smells that go along with them. Helen Gladkey used to make her own rose water perfume. And sometimes when you're there, you will smell roses, and people attribute it to her because that's what she always wore. Now,
that was her first experience.
Yeah, that was our first experience. Dana's waving her hand.
That happened to me the first trip too, and I think on the third one.
Yeah, our first time there was in 2004, and we had that happen to us. That was
on the tour.
On the tour.
Wow.
Yeah,
it was really strong when it happened with me. But again, that was 20 some years ago. So whenever
and there's no doubt that it's the smell of roses when you do smell it.
Oh, it's roses.
Yeah,
you wouldn't expect to smell that in a prison.
No,
it's funny because we've got the administration portion, and then we have the prison behind the administration portion. In the front of the prison, the administration, the castle-looking structure, we get a lot of nice phantom smells.
Yes, we do.
The prison, that's another story. Those are nasty smells.
As one would expect.
Exactly.
Or assume,
I think so.
you will.
Now, with art, the smell that people get is cherry pipe tobacco. Like you'll be walking the building, and it pretty much can be anywhere, but it's usually in the administration area. You'll be walking, you just smell this cherry pipe tobacco. That happens a lot. And then the phantom smells that Greg's talking about in administration. That was where the chapel's quarters were, or chaplain's quarters were down the hall. There was a kitchen. If you're in that area, sometimes you smell pancakes and bacon and syrup and coffee and some really, really nice smells. Makes you hungry.
I was never told about this.
Yeah, we got tried several times.
You guys just smelled the coffee a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
it seems like certain areas are getting active, and different areas are getting more active now.
Now, I mean, like I said, I've never been there or anything like that. Do they have something kind of like a basement type thing over there too, or?
They do have a sub-basement, which is under solitary confinement.
Okay.
That is open to the public. Now, Dana probably remembers this. Back when, in the early 2000s, when we started investigating there, you used to be able to go into the basement under the whole administration area. But right now, that area is permanent displays for the Blood Prison Haunted House.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something I forgot to mention. Is we do, OSR is also known for the Blood Prison Haunted House that's there in October. So they have that going as well as incarceration.
Which is the tattoo one?
That's a tattoo music festival. It's huge. Excuse
I'm
me.
going to go to that one.
It sell out right away. They've been sold out for months.
Yeah.
And
You
it's
and Dana can go together and get a matching tattoo.
How did I get involved in this?
You know, you.
I think I know the right people.
I can have my heart belongs to Dana.
You insist.
Now, one thing about tattoos, you never have somebody's name in your own skin.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
I'm
Definitely
I'm
something
still
to let
shocked
ride.
that the runner person showed up again. Like, I haven't heard anybody tell that story since it happened to me, except for just today. That's wild.
Well,
It's
and he was there for quite a while throughout the whole night because I sent some of our volunteers downstairs. I said, there were 3 of them. And I said, this is what we were hearing. This is what's going on. Can you go down and try and debunk it? Try to find out what the sounds are, go and listen. Well, she recorded it a little bit and they could not debunk it. They were standing where you were, and they heard the loud bang like a door slamming.
Cell door slamming.
And so they walked towards the sound. And when they got about halfway down the cell block, the door slammed behind them.
Oh.
And then they started hearing the walking and the running footsteps and everything. And they were just standing there like, because somebody said, oh, it's probably one of those raccoons. I told the person when they said that, I go, if it's an animal, it was a bear because they were heavy footsteps.
Wow.
Oh, no.
So it was loud. But it was also the anniversary of the fire at the Ohio Penitentiary. And that's, if you remember the story, Dana, they had to find places for these men to go to, and Ohio State Reformatory was one of them. So it was the anniversary of that when we heard all the noise.
Interesting.
Now, the next day, Greg was there. Nothing.
Yeah, I don't think they. Wait a minute, I take that back. They said they didn't have anything happen, but then they said there was all this stuff going on, but they didn't think it was paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I'm
Now,
sorry.
Does this running man kind of show up a lot?
No.
I mean, we've had experiences over in the West Cell Block. Most time, you hear voices and, like door slamming, just real loud bangs. But I've never heard the running footsteps over there.
No, not like it was that night.
When I heard it with my friend Jay 20 odd years ago, the security guard at that time had heard of this. So apparently it's maybe cyclical. Maybe he's only, like a residual, only shows up every now and again. Yeah, but it was definitely somebody running towards us at full tilt, and we had our flashlights on it and nobody was showing up, and I couldn't figure it out, and it was bizarre. That was one of the weirdest things that's ever happened to me.
No, I just thought of, Greg, that happens in the attic.
Oh, yeah, we get a lot of people walking and running towards you in the attic, which is in the same area. It's just all the way up top.
It's the West Cell Block. So we'll have to watch the date, because if it does have to do with the date of the anniversary, next year we got to mark it on our calendar, and we're going to go sit in the West Cell Block.
Things to do on your vacations.
Exactly.
That would be something fun. Now, usually, how much is it? Like, if somebody just wants like a, like an overnight investigation of OSR.
Go ahead. I'll let you do that one.
Do that. All right, it's different for the public hunts, which I'm partial to the private hunts because I run those. A private hunt, well, no, go back to the public hunt. It's $99 a person.
And there'll be up to 105 people there with you.
Or you can, if you can get a Sunday night through a Thursday night, it's $1,500 for up to 15 people. So it's $100 a person. So for $1 more, you get the whole place with 15 people. Now, if you can get it on a weekend, it's basically the same thing. It's $3,000 for up to 30 people. But it's very, very difficult to get a private hunt there on a weekend.
Weekends are far and few between.
Yeah.
And the one thing too is if you want more than 15 people, You can add more people, but it's $100 extra per person.
It's
So
gonna be
basically, it's $100 a person, sort of.
Right.
Up to 15, because if you have
Up to
2 people,
15.
it's still 1,500.
yeah.
Right. It's worth it.
Mhm.
Oh, it is,
I think
and
so.
it has been so active lately. I mean, just crazy stuff has been happening. I mean, even me,
The doubter.
yeah,
The skeptic.
Yes.
I mean, I've been having so much stuff happen. I mean, gosh, Naomi and I were there. We heard the thing crashing.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought somebody was standing behind with a flashlight in solitary. Greg and I heard the screaming in our break room. Just a lot of crazy weird stuff.
The mist
So
thing.
the mist thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, the apparitions. I've been investigating since 1991.
Okay.
I've only seen 4 shadow figures apparitions in my whole life. 3 of them were at the Ohio State Reformatory, and that's been the last 2 were last year.
Okay.
So I think like skeptics that I've gone with, people that are a little more skeptical, and that yet they walk around with the psychic medium. Okay. That's the most fun for me, is when they get poked or something happens that they can't explain, because they become believers real quick. That's one
Right.
place that doesn't kind of mess around much. I think they like to poke fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of, and me, it's like I'm sort of a skeptic, but I mean, there are unexplained things that happen. But if something happens to me, I'm always trying to figure out that logical explanation on my own. I didn't really see that, like the apparition I saw. This was last summer, leading a tour down in solitary confinement, and I've been by these cells hundreds and hundreds of times. Nothing. That one night, I go by the cell, and I swear there's somebody standing right there. So I kind of like did a little, jump back a little. I didn't say anything. I was just like, well, did I really see that? But then the woman behind me started crying because she saw it. So it's like, okay, I did see it then. It wasn't my imagination.
And then did you start to cry after that?
No, the only time I cry is when those damn raccoons and pigeons scare the hell out of you.
I'm with you on that one. Yeah, it seems like from what I hear, OSR, it's very, very, very active, and a lot of people like to go there and take a lot of pictures because it definitely looks like it's very photogenic. The picture that Diana just sent me. All right. Let me see if I can get it pulled up. Like this looks like a great picture right there.
Yep.
Oh, that's old.
Yep, that is in that's a 2nd floor East Admin. That's going up. If you take the stairs all the way up to the top, that is the 3rd floor. That's one of the more active areas in the prison. Mm-hmm. And if you could look down toward the right here, that is the bedroom closet where Helen accidentally shot herself.
Oh wow. Okay.
You are just a walking encyclopedia, Greg.
I'm there all the time.
I know, but still, it's impressive considering how big that place is, that you're like, oh, that's that stairwell. It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's like that's like you practically live there.
Right. I guess so. Yeah.
I finally get a week off. I was there Saturday night and Sunday night. Now I don't have to go back till Sunday night. So it's like, oh, yeah.
There you go. Nice little break.
It's over an hour away for me to drive, and I drive back and forth all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm fortunate enough I get to work remote, but I do go in a couple times a week, and then I do try to get out there for some of the public ghost hunts, and I definitely make it out for the ghost walks.
Okay. I'm going to see how far it is away from us. Just curious.
Oh, and if you're interested in booking like a private ghost hunt, all you have to do is reach out to me.
Okay.
And it's Kathy at MRPS, which is Mansfield Reformatory Preservation Society.org. Just reach out to me. I'll give you the dates that are available, and we'll work through it that way. If you're looking for ghost walks or public ghost hunts, then you can purchase tickets on the website.
Okay.
Good,
So
Brad.
from my house to there, it's 6 hours and 18 minutes.
Worth it.
It's easy.
Hey,
I got an idea
hey,
here,
we got people
though.
coming from Colorado.
Yeah,
That's
we have
right.
people coming from Colorado, but we're working on opening up, we being OSR, is working on opening up a few bed and breakfasts too that are just across the street.
There we go.
So they're working on that project. So if you're traveling that far, you could even rent out the bed and breakfast and then you're just across the street.
And also, we, being our team Tri-C Ghost Hunters, we have 3 other locations.
Oh, yeah, that you could go visit.
Yeah.
But one thing I would strongly suggest, if you're coming in that far in advance, schedule it so that you're taking a daytime tour
Okay.
Yes.
and then
I agree.
investigating in the evening, because it's a completely different look and feel from day and night.
Yeah.
But then the other locations, if you were looking to make it even a longer trip, boy, you could stop out to some of our other locations.
Hey, Nick, she has you. Oh, here already.
Oh, perfect.
Yep.
Sounds good to me. All right, guys, we're going to take a really quick commercial break. When we come back, we will talk more about OSR, Ohio State Reformatory. Welcome, Mayor. Let me retry that
Take
again.
2.
Welcome
it's
back,
fun.
everybody, back to WLTK-DB, the talk, Paranormal Talk Radio. We're talking with Dana, Kathy, and Greg, and Diana. We're all talking about Ohio State Reformatory, or also known as OSR, all the way in Ohio. Actually, what part of Ohio is this in?
Mansfield, Ohio.
Mansfield. Okay.
It's halfway between Cleveland and Columbus.
Okay. Nice.
Quick question.
Yes.
It says that Mansfield Reformatory was built on an old Civil War training ground.
That's correct.
Has anybody ever seen anybody from the Civil War era out on the grounds or anything along those matters, or heard?
Yeah, I have heard that people have seen, the Civil War apparitions.
Okay.
And what I've heard too is that there have been a lot of deaths.
Over 200.
At the prison, it's generally accepted that there were over 200 deaths, but even at the Civil War training site, there were a lot of deaths there.
Oh.
Like dysentery and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, Dana, if you've ever gotten any feelings there, but there's been a few times that I have felt as if the ground was connected to some of these activity there.
I haven't really, but I haven't ever gone in with that mindset either. I'm always going in, I'm not looking at that, and I never thought to, I guess. I never knew that. I knew that it had something to tie in with the Civil War. I just wasn't sure it was that, I guess. But that's interesting to me. So when I'm there next month, I will definitely do that.
Yeah, Dana, you'll have to give us an update and kind of see like what you're
I'll
seeing.
update you.
No problem there.
Maybe
Sometimes
I'll hide in Dana's suitcase and go from there.
If you
There
can
are
find
times
room,
that
I don't know.
well, you know what? You don't have to ride in her suitcase. You can come on out because she's coming out for the Parapsychon, which is our event that we hold our
Yes,
third week in May.
I have heard of that before.
Oh,
I mean, we just got done doing our own event and everything, so we're a little event out right now. We're going to take a little break until July. I'm going to see Miss Dana at the Shadows of Rockford event that she will be at.
it was a
We are-
curtsy.
Now, I do have a question for OSR. Is there like a resident ghost that you guys know, or is there someone that always appears? Because I know a lot of locations they'll have this is Emily, or this is Ed, or whatever.
There used to be.
Yeah,
There
I mean,
used to be.
we do have Helen and Art,
Mhm.
Black Keys, and we used to have a. It's funny because it seems like a lot of those ones were employees and not inmates.
Oh,
So I mean, we did have one. His name was Mr. Saltz. Mr. Saltz was actually a former guard, and he was basically in charge of one of the hospitals there.
okay.
And he was a big guy. He was 6'8", like 350
Holy
pounds.
cow.
He was huge. And he was a real person. In fact, I was reading an article that one of the former superintendents wrote, and he talked about the guard, and he even described him. But he got the nickname Mr. Saltz because inmates had to go through him to see the doctor on sick calls. And of course, half the inmates weren't sick. So he would make them drink a glass full of Epsom salts. And that's how
Some salts and water.
Yeah. And that's how he got the nickname Mr. Saltz. But he used to be there a lot. And
yes, he was.
And he used to hang out over in that area, that first photo that you've shown.
Okay.
The East Cell Block. He used to hang out there, and but apparently we've been told that he's not there anymore. He crossed over.
Yeah, that's what we were told.
And then we have another one that we believe hangs out there. His name's Frank Hanger.
Mm-hmm.
Hanger was a guard that was murdered in solitary.
Oh, okay.
So, and you know what? And there are so many spirits there, and there were so many, inmates that passed through that location. I mean, they think there's one Jimmy,
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson, and he hangs out over in that area too. And then there's Jimmy, who would make let's put it this way: you can name any name, and they're probably hanging out. Let's just put it that way.
Now, what do you guys feel for like the spirits and everything? Is there more inmates there, or is there more people that used to work there?
Oh
Inmates.
gosh, probably half and half.
It depends on where you go. Too.
Yeah, that's true.
Like up in the attic, it's the West Attic, which is the most active area in the whole prison. That's all inmates.
Yes,
they're all violent inmates up there.
Oh, okay.
Most of the time in administration, obviously, it's the people who used to work there.
Right.
And then back in the actual prison area, you got inmates and
the employees.
Employees and guards.
Now I saw Dana make a face when we talked about the attic. You don't like the attic, do you?
I don't. No. And it's not like I'm like, ooh, it's evil. It's just I just don't feel comfortable there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that. I feel like they want to like push me right out.
Mm-hmm.
My son's always trying to get me up there because he apparently likes to see me go, ew.
This is why we love Rowan.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, do you think it possibly has something to do with you being female? Or
maybe, but it's
more.
I can't answer that for sure. I don't want to assume that's what it is, but it's just I think I also I know I've picked up on the illness, like an illness up there. and
Okay.
it's made it hard to breathe. And so every time I go up there, I get really kind of, well, I start to breathe hard, Kathy. So you might want to come up with me next time. Because I feel like I have to go every now and again. And it's not like debilitating, like I'm going to freak out and run out the door, but it's enough that it just makes me, I just don't want to be up there.
Like an uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
I'd just rather skip it. Thanks.
And there is a lot of people that feel that way. And this is possibly the reason why. We used to house inmates up there, up in that attic. When Kathy mentioned that there was a fire at the Ohio Penitentiary in Columbus that happened in 1930, I believe
Right.
322 inmates perished in that fire. They had to find other prisons within the Ohio prison system to place these other inmates. Some 200 and some came to the reformatory. Now, at that time, the reformatory was still a reformatory. It was an intermediate prison for young first-time nonviolent offenders. The guys coming from your pen, they were your murderers, your rapists, your lifers, your felons. That's where they put them. And there were no cells. The only thing that would have been up there were bunk beds lined up and down the walls. So guards would have just locked the door. And so you can imagine what on in this big college dorm room, all these violent inmates. Figure all the assaults, murders, rapes.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking about what you said, Dana, about trying to catch your breath. And
Yeah.
well, that kind of goes along with the fire, because that's where they were. They were in a fire. And a lot of it, that's
Kind of
where
like smoke.
fire smell up there. Smoke
Well,
smell.
that makes sense now.
because of
I
their
seriously
clothing.
didn't know that was where they were. Okay.
Yeah.
That's where
Well, that could
they
make
were.
sense then.
Yeah, because
Now-
sometimes the phantom smell up there of smoke is very, very strong.
Okay. Now up in that area too, like, I would think that there would be a lot of people that had tuberculosis though too, right?
Well, I mean, we had one. I mean, in the history of the prison, there were 3 hospitals. In the first hospital, people used to actually call it the TB hospital.
Okay.
But they didn't strictly have any TB hospitals. I mean, yes, they had TB patients, but
Not okay.
but it wasn't strictly a TB hospital.
Oh no, because like when Dana was saying like it was kind of like a disease, and I'm thinking, and you're talking about the breathing, I'm thinking, well, tuberculosis.
It could be either or if it was TB, but I don't know because I never really give it a chance to. I should probably challenge myself and do that next time, but
That's
Just
one of
be
our challenges. Go ahead.
I'll go with you.
That's not
there'll be film on me.
Yeah, you have to
Here,
be
freak
alone.
yeah,
out.
you have to be alone for the challenge.
The Dana challenge. Yeah.
You know what, Diana? We need to try that now. Now we need to try the Dana challenge on our
Great. It
investigation.
just started a trend.
Okay. I'm down.
And then after you pass the challenge, you get a tattoo that says, "I'm with Dana."
To pass the Dana challenge. As long as it's.
I feel so loved.
I know, right? There's a lot of love.
I have to tell one more story because I want to
Yeah.
hear Greg tell me the answer or what he thinks on this. So I was in the current break room at OSR, okay? And it was myself and another girl were walking out. And you know when you're facing, so you're going back out to go out by solitary.
Mhm.
So whatever, there's a staircase right outside there.
Right.
So at the end of the little hallway, still within the break room area, at the very end, there's like that cage or
Mhm.
that wall.
Mhm.
We were walking down there and something hit that so incredibly hard. It was the loudest bang I mean, it was like somebody just grabbed it and just swung a metal door or something, but it felt almost physical, like somebody hit it. And we went, ah! And of course we then ran around because there's like cleaning stuff, I think, in a cage adjoined to that or something. There's something out there. And of course, nobody was in there. Nothing had fallen over. Have you ever heard that bang, that big loud noise?
I think you know. I haven't heard it. I've heard a lot of things there, but you're saying it happened out in the bullpen. or you go up the stairs and go down the hall?
It happened still in the, is that what do you call the
break
room where we eat pizza?
Yeah, the break room. So you weren't
break
even
room.
out there yet.
We weren't even out of
Okay.
that room yet. We were at the end of that hall, and it's that wall,
Right.
just the end of the hall.
Okay. All right.
That's where it happened.
Yeah, people have heard loud bangs over there. In fact, what was just about a month ago, somebody said it actually even sounded, what they heard was like somebody falling down those steps outside of the bullpen. It was really loud.
There was a physicality to it. I don't know how to explain that without sound like a lunatic, but it was more than just like a door slamming. It had some.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like there was somebody behind it. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And there was nobody over there. There was no way they could have gone anywhere because we were out right away. There's just all kinds of stuff like that goes on, Nick. You need to go.
Oh yeah, it was even in the break room where you think you're safe.
Yeah, you're never safe.
You're in a haunted location. You're not safe.
Yeah, right.
They make you feel safe with pizza and stuff, but don't buy it.
Monday night, I had an experience. We had 7 people that night, and we have security cameras so we can see where they're at. And we're sitting in our break room, which is the kitchen, just off your break room. But we have the door open, and there's this big cooler that's shiny. And we're sitting in there, we're watching the cameras and everything. All of a sudden, there's somebody's moving in the break room because there's this dark shadow that walks by, and I'm like, whoa. And the guy who was working with me, he's like, well, what happened? I'm like, saw a shadow, like somebody was in the break room. So we went out there and looked, and of course there's nobody in there.
Nobody there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because when there is somebody in there, there's shadows on that cooler because it's almost like a mirror. But,
Now, is shadow figures a big thing there?
oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that was where you saw your first shadow person, Greg.
That's where third floor, east side. That was back in January 2019. First shadow figure apparition I've ever seen. I was so happy.
This time I was telling people they were lying.
It's definitely a rush when you finally do see something like that. As Diana will know, I had my first experience with something like that at Indiana State Sanatorium, and I caught it on tape.
On film too, so that's even cooler.
Oh, that's nice.
We caught a shadow, well, not a shadow figure, but an actual figure peer out behind the door, and I clicked eyes with it, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And I found all this shit. And Dana, you know me, and I'm
he was on the floor below us, and we heard him scream.
I'm sure you did. Yes.
And I took it, and that's the real cool thing about paranormal investigating is when you actually get to see this kind of stuff. It's like, oh my God. And people are like, oh, you're a paranormal investigator. Why are you freaking out? Because you don't expect to see.
You don't expect it.
Even though you're looking for it, it's true. It's still a surprise because how many investigations have we all been on that you sit there in the dark for 3-4 hours with nothing.
Nothing happens.
Except for Greg going,
I try to make it interesting.
You're gonna have strangers coming up and doing that to you now.
Yeah, you're right. All the people watching, they're gonna go to OSR.
There you go.
Aren't you the guy that breathes heavily?
Yes.
Tries to see his breath.
That's hilarious. But no, when I read there for their event, that's next month, I do it in a jail cell. And I had an experience my last day last year with that too. I was talked to the person, I supposed somebody, whoever had lived there at whatever point. And I was just just so you know, I'm only here for a few days kind of thing. Because I was doing my readings in there. And it was all good until the very last person I read. I had my back to where the bunk would have been bolted to the wall. They had since removed the beds. So it was just an empty room.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody grabbed my calf and squeezed it twice. And I looked up at the client and her face was like,
Oh, no.
I said, what's the matter? A piece of my hair had gone up,
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
which happens every now and again, but she saw it while I was paying attention to my leg, and I thought, I think we better wrap things up. I think somebody's done with me sitting in his room.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. But it's those little things that happen, and that was during the day. It's like
Right.
it's haunted. It's just there's so many spirits there.
Yeah.
There just
And
are.
I bet you, kind of like you discovered, Dana, that activity can happen anytime during the day, during the night.
You know what? I think it happens a lot more during the day than we care to think about because it's
Yeah.
so busy for us during the day. We don't hear it, see it, or react to it anymore.
Right.
It's at night when we're trying to shut down that they're like finally heard.
Mm-hmm.
But I like doing daytime investigations because I get more EVP a lot of the time during the day.
No, that would definitely make sense. Now, we have about a good 10 minutes left, and then I'll ask both of you. Dana, I'll start with you. In your opinion, where is the most haunted kind of like hotspot of OSR?
Well, I'm going to stick with that cell block I was talking about with the runner.
Okay.
And I've also had experiences in admin.
Okay.
I had more experiences in admin when I was there the second or third time to last than I did ever before. I saw one full body apparition, 1960s lady. I told Kathy about all that. I won't go into huge detail.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, there's a whole different vibe on that side. And I never really got anything from that before. Because I was just more concerned with getting into the prison. Because that's like
Right.
the, part. I think next time I go, I'd like to spend more time in admin, frankly.
The admin part. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Kathy, what about
it's starting to get louder in there. I think you're going to be getting louder in that area.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You think that they're going to be getting that louder? Yeah, they're already getting a little bit more active there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw a full body apparition in the same location. What was it, like 3 months ago?
February.
Oh, it was in February. Yeah. Okay. It was like 3 months ago that.
Is that your favorite area?
No, I'm sorry. I got off track there.
You're good.
It's becoming my favorite area, though, because stuff is really happening there. It's on the 3rd floor, East Admin hallway to the chair room. But the most active place, I think, is the attic.
Attic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, what about you, Greg?
Well, because I'm there all the time. I listen to people, what they tell me, what they experience, where they experience, in my experiences, and hands down, West Attic. Almost everybody that goes up there has something happen. And when I do my tours, a lot of times I don't tell them everything that happens up there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing when they come back down and they tell me what they're experiencing. And it's like, you're experiencing exactly what everybody else experiences.
Which is great that you don't tell them and
Right.
you're getting that
I want to put it in there.
Validation that way is cool.
And it's amazing the people that come down and they're like, what is it about that, what they're seeing? And I'm like, we don't know, but that's what everybody experiences. Right. So
hasn't the West Attic made a lot of skeptics believers?
Yes.
And I think that's
what I'm talking about.
Skeptics, and then you're like, go sit in the attic, and they sit in the attic, and they come out, and they're not the same.
Yep. Now understand,
you gotta go in there.
the whole prison is active.
Yes.
And my second favorite area is the 3rd floor in admin. Admin is really active.
Mm-hmm. See, now did that just get more active? Because I was feeling like it was going to get more active.
Oh,
it's more active.
It's been active there for, gosh, at least several years.
It's been the second most active location, but it seems like it's ramping up a little bit more now.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Some of the stuff that's going on up there. Lately, people have been seeing this creeper in that area. Mm-hmm. something that'll get down on fours and like growl at you and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Oh,
that's true by
nothing
different
major.
No.
Now, the creeper used to be there many years ago. Somebody that works in the, well, he's the maintenance guy. Years ago, he knew about the creeper, and somebody mentioned it to him. And before they could describe him, he went like this, and he described him. So he's
back.
Yeah, it came back.
Creeper's back.
Creeper's back.
Time to go, Nick.
No, just
No words.
what well like Dana knows me, and like me and dolls, we don't mix. Like I can't do dolls and stuff. But like what
Can you see that?
what would kind of cause the creeper?
Yeah, you can see it.
Okay.
Oh, I can see it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the doll.
It's a lamp.
That's the doll
I
lamp.
can see it. What would kind of cause like something like the creeper then?
We've had a lot of people ask that, and it's funny. It's in the administration area. Inmates wouldn't have really been up there because it was the
It
home.
was management. It's management.
There you go. I mean, you get it. Sometimes management is worse than the.
Just saying.
It's also Native American grounds, and sometimes I wonder if some of that goes on there too. And I kind of think maybe the creeper might be associated with the Native Americans, but who knows?
Because if you think about it, a lot of times Native Americans, they can kind of leave something behind to kind of protect their land a little bit.
Yes.
So that's definitely possible. Diana, what's your favorite place so far? Where do you want to spend some time at?
In the kitchen with the pizza.
Nowhere is safe, so don't even try that.
I want to go to the admin building. I want to go and kind of go to that closet and see what I feel. I have a question for you guys. Does anybody ever say that they heard music?
Ooh.
Yes.
Probably, but I can't.
My group got music. We got Johnny Cash playing through one of the walkie-talkies.
Really?
And the thing was, I think that I can't remember the whole story, but I think the walkie was off. And there were two people that had the same experience, separated by length, and they both got the same song, but in different parts. So
there was
I don't
a
know.
country singer who was imprisoned there as well.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And they used to go ahead and pipe music into the cells.
Interesting.
Now, one of our Ghost Walk tour guides, after her group had already left, she heard music. And that was just this past Friday. I forgot about it until you started talking, Dana. She had mentioned, she was like, were you playing music in your office or something? I'm like, no. So, and nobody had music going, so we didn't know where it was coming from. But she's a very credible person. If she says she heard music, she did.
Yeah, it's something that I've never heard, and that really has never been reported. But obviously, doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. It's just if it does, it's probably pretty rare.
You know what's going to happen now that you said that?
Yeah.
Guess who's going to hear music?
Oh yeah,
Greg. Greg's
I'll be, and my first thing is like, okay, who's playing the music, and if once the guests leave, there's only like me and one other person in the building. So then, if we hear music, then
there you go.
So
all of a sudden, Dana will go in and she'll start doing a reading, and she'll start doing what the hell's her problem? That's okay. That's
people say that anyway. So.
Oh my god! All right, guys. I want to thank you guys so much for being on the show and talking about OSR, Ohio State Reformatory. And we'll definitely have to go try to get out there sometime. And it definitely sounds like very interesting and stuff. And what we'll do is we'll drag Dana Stricker with us, and then that way she could be our guide. And over here,
I laugh like.
You laugh like that anyways.
You have a great laugh.
I think anybody too that is, if they're listening, you guys, the Ohio or the OSR event that's coming up, the Parapsychon, is well worth it. If I would grab tickets, go to the website and find it, because it's a really great event. And Nick, you should probably plan on that next year.
Okay.
because you really would like it.
You guys
Seriously.
do like vendors and stuff like that too, right?
Yeah.
Or,
Yep.
okay.
So, but you got to get in
We have
early for
90
that.
members. Over.
Yeah, we have 90 vendors. We have celebrities. We have speakers. You get to tour. You pay. You don't pay to get into the convention. You pay to get into OSR, and so you get everything with OSR. Has the 3 museums, the guided tour, and the convention and everything. So.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely look into that for next year, because right now we're looking for more places to go. Like conventions and all that kind of stuff too. So there we go. Well, I want to thank. I know you'll hound me too. I want to thank you guys so much for coming on, Dana, Kathy, Greg, as always, Diana, and myself, Nick Sarlo here with Shadowhunters Paranormal Investigation and Events. And thank you guys so much for coming on to 60 Minutes. 60 haunted look. Oh, now I'm getting confused.
I like 60 minutes. That made me feel really important for a minute.
Paranormal locations in 60 minutes? Something?
Haunted locations in 60 minutes.
Oh,
there we go. But next week we have a very interesting one. We are actually going to Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, and we're going to try to get Miss Ursula Bielski.
Nice.
That's a good one.
But thank you guys so much for joining and for coming on, and we will see you guys next
Thank
week.
you.
Bye.
We really enjoyed it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.